Welcome back, grades 7 and 8. We're going to continue to talk in our science fair project now about Christian perspective. This is a unique opportunity that we have. And if you go through that science booklet that we've been stepping through all about how to create a science fair project, you won't find this part in it. And that's because that one was built around a public school science fair. And we are from a Christian school, which means that we have the opportunity to think differently, to go deeper, to understand the God and the creator, the designer behind this world that we are understanding more about through our experimentation. We are from Calvin Christian School. And because of that, we have the opportunity to talk freely and openly about the God that created the world around us, created us, and created our ability to be able to experiment and learn more about it. And the world around us is amazing. It's fantastic. I mean, let's think about space for a quick second here. Space it blows my mind sometimes to think about how huge things are. Now, light is one of the fastest things that we talk about. It's one of the fastest things that travel, and it's very hard for us to actually see light traveling because of how quick it goes, about 300,000 meters per second. That's fast. It's so fast that you turn on a flashlight or you turn on a light and a room is instantly bright. You don't see that travel taking place. And yet when we talk about space, we actually measure things in the time it takes light to travel. For example, the sun, which is so far away from us, it takes light 8 full minutes to travel from the sun to us. So if the sun were to stop existing instantly, we wouldn't know for another 8 minutes. It would still be bright for us for 8 minutes even after the sun has stopped existing. And that's our closest star. And we measure other stars around us in the time it takes light to travel in years. So if you took a full year and said, how far would light travel at 300,000 meters per second and multiplied that into a whole year, you have the distance of 1 light year. Now, we have stars that are many, many light years away, and it's incredible to think about the vastness of space in which God created. And then we get to the tiny, tiny parts of creation, the atoms, the molecules, and the structure behind these building blocks that create the world around us, and it's incredible, and it's amazing. And yet in between that, God created us as inquisitive human beings, as ones who ask questions, as ones who create experiments and designs, who are able to learn more about this world that's around us, and who are able to experiment on the things that are around us to learn more about it as well, or to create, just like our God creator created us. And so as we look at the world around us, we have the opportunity to reflect on our science fair project from this Christian perspective and to write a paragraph about that that's going to go underneath our conclusion. And some of you might say, I added Mentos to Coke. How can I have a Christian perspective on that? And my answer to you is maybe a couple of these points that I'm going to give you is going to help shape how you can write about how being a Christian influences your approach to this project and your approach to science in general. Some things to consider as you're writing this paragraph would be things like beauty and wonder of God's creation. Right? Maybe there was something in your project that really highlighted the beauty or just the immense wonder about the creation that's around us and the creator that created it. Maybe you're able to create a connection from your experiment to learning more about God's world or God's creation. Right? What you're experimenting on is teaching us more about this world around us that God created, and that's pretty awesome. Maybe you learn more about order and design in our world. God created our world to have specific order, whether that be different scientific laws like gravity, or whether that be the repeatability of our experiments, right? The fact that we can have predictable ways in which things are going to happen, or maybe it's within baking and predictable ratios about flour to sugar to eggs and those sorts of things, that just the fact that every single time we add these in this specific way, it will act and work together the way that God intended it. There's an order and a design that comes from a higher power. It wasn't just randomly put here by chance. Maybe it's learning about human uniqueness. Maybe in your experiment, you saw the uniqueness and the differences between different people that you experimented on. Whether it be different ages, different genders, or just uniqueness within people themselves, different abilities, God created us, yes, in his likeness, but he created us unique. And that's something to be celebrated. That's something to appreciate about the creator God that's around us. Maybe it was about learning about human error or sin. Maybe it's about mistakes. Maybe you learned a little bit more about some of the environmental impacts of some of the things around us and the pollution and the negative effects that sometimes we are having on the world, despite the fact that we are called to be stewards of God's creation. Maybe you worked on an innovation, and so it's about being a sub-creator from a God who created us in his likeness to be creators as well, and the ability that we have to create just as God created us in the world around us. Or maybe it's an appreciation for God allowing us to be inquisitive, thoughtful, asking questions, to explore or experiment, to learn more about creation. Now, this list is not an exhaustive list, and there might be many different things that you even think of as well from a Christian perspective or a Christian worldview that you'd like to write about in a paragraph. But hopefully this gets your mind thinking a little bit about how as Christians, we're able to see it from a different perspective, a different lens, a different worldview. And this is our opportunity to write about that and to be a light to the world around us.